Okay, welcome. Today we're diving deep into a truly monumental work, Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart.
A classic for a reason.
Absolutely. And our mission today, well, it isn't just to skim the plot. We really want to get into the vibrant Igbo society that Achebe presents, and also the devastating collision with external forces, how it impacts people, communities, basically how things, well, fall apart.
And Achebe gives us a huge clue right at the beginning, doesn't he? That dedication to Yeats's poem, The Second Coming.
Yeah, things fall apart, the center cannot hold.
Exactly. It just sets the tone immediately. This isn't just a novel. It's a profound look at societal disintegration.
So let's start maybe with the man at the center of it all, Okonkwo. Achebe introduces him with such force. I mean, right away we learn about his fame.
Haiti.
Yeah, throwing Amalinzi the cat, this legendary wrestler. He brings honor to Umofia.
Undefeated for 7 years, Amalinzi was. It's quite the feat.
And the description of Okonkwo himself, tall and huge, that very severe look.
And that walk, like he's on springs, going to pounce on somebody.
Right, and this light stammer too, how he'd use his fists when angry. It says he had no patience for unsuccessful men. And crucially, no patience for his own father.
And that opening, it's not just about Okonkwo. It immediately tells you what Umofia values, right?
Yeah.
Achievement, physical strength, reputation. It's a society where, your worth is based on what you do, the work of his hands, not who your father was.
Which is such a stark contrast when we meet his father, Unoka,
Oh, completely.
described as lazy and improvident, always owing people money.
Yeah, but also a musician, right? A talented flutist who loved life, good company, nature.
He had that memorable line about seeing the folly of not eating what one had in one's lifetime. A very different philosophy from Okonkwo.
And this contrast, it's so important. It gets into the idea of chi, the personal god. Unoka's perceived bad chi, his shameful death from swelling.
Which was seen as an abomination to the earth goddess, right? So he couldn't even be buried properly, left in the evil forest.
Exactly. And all that directly shapes Okonkwo. It fuels this obsessive drive he has, this deep fear of weakness, of ending up like his father.
It's fascinating how Achebe weaves in the details of their culture, too, like the kola nut ceremony.
Oh, yes.
That whole exchange between Unoka and Okoye, his neighbor, it shows so much about hospitality, respect, how they communicate.
And the proverbs.
Yeah.
The palm oil with which words are eaten. It's beautiful.
It really emphasizes the value they placed on conversation, on wisdom expressed through these sayings. Like, he who brings kola brings life.
Or, the sun will shine on those who stand before it shines on those who kneel under them. There's a real pragmatism there, too.
But does this reliance on tradition, this very structured way of interacting, maybe make them a bit inflexible when faced with something totally new?
That's a key question the novel raises, I think.
And Okonkwo's early life, it really shows his determination, starting with nothing because of his father.
Had to borrow seed yams, work incredibly hard.
Yeah, working for Nwachebe just to get started, supporting his mother, his sisters. And yam, it's the king of crops, a man's crop. So much pressure.
And then he faces that terrible year, the drought, then the floods, utter devastation. People lost everything.
A man even hanged himself, but Okonkwo, he survives.
And his takeaway is pure Okonkwo. Since I survived that year, I shall survive anything. He puts it down to his inflexible will.
So you see this intense, almost rigid personality forming, driven by fear and willpower. How does that man deal with something like Ekemefuna coming into his life?
Ikemefuna, the boy from Mbeno,
Given as a sacrifice, basically, to avoid war. And he ends up living with Okonkwo.
becomes like an older brother to Okonkwo's own son, Owaye. Teaches him things, masculine tasks.
And Achebe tells us Okonkwo actually grew fond of him inwardly, but outwardly.
Only harshness, that heavy hand. Because showing affection, that would be weakness in his eyes.
Which really brings us back to that core conflict in him.
It does. And it's something for you, the listener, to think about. How do societies enforce these kinds of conformity? What happens when your personal feelings, your, basic human connections, clash with these rigid cultural norms about masculinity or honor? Okonkwo's struggle is right there.
And his temper keeps causing problems. That incident during the Week of Peace.
The Nsawani, a sacred time, no violence, no harsh words, respect for Ani, the earth goddess.
And Okonkwo just loses it, beats his youngest wife, Ojiugo, because she was late getting back to cook.
A serious transgression.
And the priest of Ani, Eziani, comes and lays down the law, demands a sacrifice, she-goat, hen, cloth, carries.
And warns him, The evil you have done can ruin the whole clan. It shows how interconnected they saw everything. One person's actions could have huge consequences.
But there's an interesting aside there, isn't there, about how the punishment used to be much worse.
That's right. Agorfiazudu mentions it. In the old days, someone who broke the peace like that might have been dragged to death.
So it suggests their society wasn't totally static. It had changed, become maybe a little less harsh over time.
Which makes the later events even more tragic, perhaps.
Speaking of tragedy, Ikemefuna's fate. The Oracle of the Hills and Caves decrees he must die.
A devastating blow. And then the elder, Agorfiazudu, comes specifically to warn Okonkwo.
Tells him point blank, that boy calls you father. Do not bear a hand in his death.
It's such a pivotal moment. Okonkwo is forced to choose clan law versus personal feeling. But it's more than that, isn't it? It's the clan's expectation of strength versus, well, basic humanity.
And he makes the choice.
He delivers the final blow himself. Because, as Achebe writes, he was afraid of being thought weak. It's heartbreaking. He sacrifices the boy he loves to uphold this image of masculine strength.
And the impact on his son, Onwoye, it's immediate.
Yeah, that line. Something seemed to give way inside him, like the snapping of a tightened bow.
It connects back to how he felt about the twins being abandoned in the forest earlier.
Exactly. It's this repeated trauma, this questioning of the brutal aspects of the tradition that paves the way for Benoye's later departure.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit. We're moving into the second part now, where the widening gyre, as Yeats called it, really starts to spin. External forces arrive.
And we first hear about the white men through Obierica, Okonkwo's friend, right? When he visits Okonkwo in exile.
Yeah, he tells that strange and terrible story of the village of Abame.
Where a lone white man arrives on an iron horse, a bicycle, we figure out.
And the villagers, consulting their oracle, kill him.
And the consequence. Utter devastation. Soldiers come, surround the market, and wipe out almost everyone.
It's a brutal introduction to the power of the colonizers.
And a warning sign the clans didn't fully grasp. Obierica even uses that proverb about Mother Kite, doesn't he? Asking why she took the duckling but let the chick go. The duckling's mother was silent. The chick's mother cried out.
The lesson being,
be wary of silence. The white man who was killed said nothing. Maybe they should have been more cautious. Abame wasn't.
Soon after, the missionaries arrive in Mbanta, where Okonkwo is living in exile.
And the initial reaction is, well, almost comical.
They laugh at the interpreter's dialect. He keeps saying my buttocks instead of myself.
Yeah, because of the regional dialect differences.
Yeah.
But the message itself isn't funny to them.
One true God. Their gods are false, idols of wood and stone, heaven for believers, hellfire for others.
Standard missionary message of the time.
And the elders in Mbanta, they try a clever trick, or so they think. They offer the missionaries land to build their church.
But it's not just any land. It's a plot in the evil forest.
The place where abominations are left, where they believe malignant spirits dwell. They expect the missionaries to be dead within days.
But they aren't. They survive. They build their church.
And that becomes this huge turning point, this aha moment for some villager.
Right. Suddenly the missionaries seem to have this unbelievable power. They survive the evil forest. And the leader, Mr. Kiaga, and the white man, Mr. Brown, especially his glasses, they think he uses them to talk to spirits.
So who is actually drawn to this new religion?
Well, Achebe shows it's often those on the fringes of Igbo society. The Ifufu men considered worthless, without titles.
Like the proverb says, the man who sold his machete and wore the sheath to battle, empty.
Exactly, and others who were marginalized. The Osu, the outcasts dedicated to a god who were taboo, and women who had borne twins.
Like Nika. Twins were considered an abomination, left in the forest. The church welcomes them.
So the church offers refuge, status, a sense of belonging to those the traditional system had excluded or condemned. It's tapping into existing tensions within the society.
And then there's Nwoyo, Okonkwo's own son.
For him, it's different. He's not exactly marginalized in the same way, but he's deeply troubled.
By Ekemefuna's death, by the abandoned twins.
Yes. And the missionaries' hymns, the poetry, the new religion, it speaks to him. It seems to offer answers or at least comfort for that vague and persistent question that haunts him. It fills a spiritual gap.
How does Okonkwo react when he finds out Nwoyo is attending the church?
Predictably, with fury. A sudden fury. He sees it as the ultimate betrayal.
An abomination. Proof Nwoyo is weak, effeminate.
He feels like his own son is cold, impotent ash compared to his living fire. It confirms his worst fears about his legacy, his chi.
So this internal family conflict really mirrors the bigger picture.
Absolutely. It's not just about religion versus tradition. It's about a whole new system of authority, of justice, challenging the old ways from both inside and out. You start seeing how easily things can unravel when the foundations are shaken like this.
And the pressure intensifies when Mr. Brown, the more tolerant missionary, leaves.
And is replaced by Reverend James Smith, a very different character.
Yeah, Smith is described as uncompromising. He condemned openly Mr. Brown's policy of compromise and accommodation.
Sees the world in black and white, good versus evil, a battlefield.
Yeah.
He wants converts who are zealous, not lukewarm.
He encourages acts that directly confront the Klan's beliefs, which leads us to the breaking point.
Enoch.
Enoch, the son of the snake priest, rumored to have killed the sacred python, a real zealot.
And during a major public ceremony, with the Egwugu present,
The masked ancestral spirits of the Klan,
Enoch deliberately unmasks one of them.
which Achebe calls one of the greatest crimes a man could commit.
It's pure desecration. Igugu are not just men in masks. They embody the ancestors, the spiritual authority of the clan.
Right.
To unmask one is to attack the very foundation of their world, their connection to the past, their system of justice. It's unthinkable sacrilege.
The Klan's reaction this time is swift and unified.
No hesitation. They burn Enoch's compound down.
And then they gather, including the Igwugwu, and march to the church.
They confront Mr. Smith, and Ophia, the leading Egwugu spirit, delivers that warning. It's quite powerful.
He says, basically, you can stay, worship your own God, we respect that, but you came here and insulted us. Let Mr. Brown come back.
But he also says, go back to your house so that you may not be hurt. It's a final chance.
Smith refuses to leave, stands his ground.
And so they destroy the church, burn it to the ground.
Now we're in the final part. The center is really struggling to hold. Okonkwo, seeing the church destroyed, actually feels a moment of happiness.
Yeah, akin to happiness. He sees the clan finally acting decisively, like in the good old days again, when a warrior was a warrior.
It's what he's been waiting for, a return to strength.
But it's an illusion, a short-lived one. The district commissioner returns.
He invites the leaders of Umofia, including Okonkwo, for a meeting, a palaver.
Under false pretenses.
Completely. They go in good faith, leave their guns outside, and then...
They're ambushed, handcuffed, arrested,
Yeah.
imprisoned.
And humiliated. Terribly. Their heads are shaved. They're insulted by the court messengers, the Khatma, denied food and water, mocked.
It's a deliberate strategy to break their spirit, strip them of their authority and dignity in front of their own people.
Then the commissioner demands a fine, 200 bags of cowries initially.
Which the court messengers inflate to 250, planning to pocket the difference. Corruption is already creeping in.
And the village? They pay it. They scrape together the cowries to free their leaders.
Which shows how much power has shifted, how much the collective will to resist has been broken. Achebe describes the town crier's voice trembling, the village like a startled animal, not knowing which way to run.
And this is really crucial for you, the listener, to notice. See how the colonial administration just systematically dismantles everything?
Traditional leadership, the justice system based on dialogue and elders. It's all replaced by force, by fines, by imprisonment. The old ways are simply ignored, invalidated. The ground is shifting under their feet.
So the leaders are released. Umofia calls another big meeting. Okonkwo is gearing up for war. He's determined.
He's looking around, thinking about who might argue for peace, like Eganwan, who he despises as a coward. He's ready for action.
His machete is with him. And then the court messengers arrive again to stop the meeting.
Shouting that the white man commands the meeting to end.
And Okonkwo snaps. He doesn't hesitate this time. He draws his machete.
And cuts down the head messenger, kills him instantly.
A decisive act of defiance. But what happens next is the real tragedy.
The meeting erupts, but not into action, into chaos, tumult.
Achebe writes, Okonkwo stood looking at the dead man. He knew that Umofia would not go to war.
Why did he know?
He knew because they had let the other messengers escape. They had broken into tumult instead of action. He discerned fright in that tumult.
They're asking why did he do it?
Not rallying behind him, not joining the fight. The center has truly broken. His act is isolated, not collective. The spirit is gone.
This is the ultimate falling apart. The individual defiance meets collective fear and confusion. The community he fought for won't fight with him.
So Okonkwo walks away, and the next time we see him.
The district commissioner arrives with soldiers, asking Obirika to show him Okonkwo.
And Obirika leads them to a tree behind Okonkwo's compound, where Okonkwo has hanged himself.
The final, devastating act. And culturally, The weight of this is immense.
Suicide is an abomination, an offense against the earth.
Which means his own clansmen cannot touch his body, cannot bury him. Only strangers can cut him down and dispose of the body. It denies him even an honorable end in the eyes of the tradition he so desperately tried to uphold.
Obirika, heartbroken and furious, confronts the district commissioner.
That incredible line, "That man was one of the greatest men in Umuofia. You drove him to kill himself, and now he will be buried like a dog."
Chilling. And the commissioner's reaction.
Cold, detached, colonial. He thinks Okonkwo's story might make interesting reading.
Maybe even material for his own book.
Yes, he muses about the title, the pacification of the primitive tribes of the Lower Niger. He thinks Okonkwo's death might warrant a reasonable paragraph, maybe even a whole chapter he briefly considers before deciding against it.
Reducing this immense tragedy, the destruction of a man and a world, to a footnote in his own self-important colonial narrative.
It encapsulates the entire tragedy, doesn't it? The complete lack of understanding, the dehumanization, the erasure of a complex culture, all seen through the lens of pacification.
Wow. What a powerful, devastating story we've walked through. Okonkwo's life, the unraveling of Umuofia. Achebe really lays bare the impact of that collision. Unchecked power, internal divisions.
And yet it resonates with such universal themes, culture clash, masculinity, fate versus free will, the pain of change. It forces you to question those easy narratives of progress and civilization.
What does progress mean if it involves destroying another way of life?
Exactly. And the loss of that cultural center, it's profound.
So maybe a final thought for you to carry away from this deep dive. When that center cannot hold, what's truly left of a people's identity, and what responsibility do we all have, maybe in our own communities, our own times, to prevent that kind of unraveling?
Subscribe to the Timeless Tales podcast. Your stories, your time.